Okay, so have you ever found yourself just completely baffled by what someone did?
Oh, definitely.
You look at them or what they said and just think, seriously, why? Like, what logic is even there?
Yeah, what's going on in their head?
Right. Or maybe you've seen people who just seem to figure things out.
Yeah, they navigate the world so smoothly sometimes, build great relationships, find success.
Even against the odds.
Right.
What is that secret?
It's a huge puzzle, isn't it? Trying to understand why people tick and how some just seem to unlock, I don't know, a different level.
Absolutely. And that's really the core of what we're getting into today. We've looked at some really thought-provoking insights from excerpts of a book. It offers this unique way of looking at intelligence and behavior.
Yeah, and our mission here in this deep dive is to unpack that specific perspective. We'll look at how it defines intelligence.
Which is maybe not what you'd expect.
Right, and how that might explain some of those head-scratching moments you mentioned.
And maybe most importantly, what this source suggests is even more critical than just raw intelligence for living a life that feels, well, meaningful, finding wisdom.
So get ready, because this framework, it might genuinely shift how you see other people.
And maybe even yourself. Could be quite eye-opening, maybe even, touching in some ways as we explore it.
Okay, let's jump in. So the source starts by redefining intelligence itself. It's not just about, say, solving math problems or riddles.
Right. The definition it's using is more about the ability to adapt successfully to your environment. Especially when things get tough.
Think about our ancestors, surviving floods, droughts, predators.
Basic survival.
Exactly. Intelligence was tied directly to surviving in a pretty harsh world.
Okay, so based on that idea, the source talks about two main types of intelligence.
The first one, it calls savanna intelligence, and this is tied right back to those basic primal instincts, things essential for survival and reproduction way back when.
Eating, sleeping, finding a mate. Basic stuff.
Yeah, the fundamentals. And the source suggests that most people, most of the time, are operating primarily from this savanna intelligence.
That's the baseline. But then there's something else.
Yes, then it introduces general intelligence. And this is described as pretty distinct. It's the cognitive capacity for abstract thought, complex reasoning.
Things that weren't strictly needed back on the savannah, right? Like advanced science, philosophy, complex math.
Precisely. And here's where it gets really interesting, maybe a little provocative.
Okay.
The source kind of frames people with really high general intelligence as almost like a mutation, or maybe representing a new humanity.
Wow. Okay. A mutation.
In the sense that their brains are, in this view, wired differently. They can process abstract concepts that might even bypass or clash with those basic savanna drives.
So how does that actually show up? How would we see that, according to this idea?
Well, a key thing the source points to is behavior that deviates from those savanna principles. Stuff that seems to go against the grain of basic survival and reproduction.
Okay, like what? Give me some examples.
All right, think about the core savanna drive. Survive and reproduce. So the source points to things like choosing to be single long-term or deciding consciously not to have children.
Ah, right. That goes directly against the reproduce instinct.
Exactly. Or vegetarianism. Intentionally not eating meat, which was a primary food source for ages.
Or maybe spending loads of time on really abstract stuff. Philosophy, theoretical science, deep self-help thinking.
Yes. Instead of focusing only on immediate needs like status in the local group or getting more stuff. These abstract pursuits, they don't directly put food on the table today, but they require a different kind of mental energy.
Okay, and the source backs this up how?
It looks at statistics. It observes that groups who engage in these non-savanna behaviors, let's call them, tend to have statistically higher average scores on standard intelligence tests.
Oh, interesting.
Like they mentioned data suggesting vegetarians as a group average about 10 points higher on IQ tests. The source uses this correlation as a piece of evidence.
Right. Correlation, not necessarily causation, but a pattern.
A pattern suggesting a link between these behaviors and what it calls general intelligence.
So what this framework gives us then is maybe a different lens, a way to look at those behaviors that puzzle us.
Exactly. When someone does something that just seems odd or counterintuitive from a basic needs perspective, this theory suggests maybe they're operating more from that general intelligence framework.
It's one possible explanation for the sheer variety of human actions offered by this source. A way to try and predict behavior even.
Okay, so if understanding behavior involves having these different viewpoints, different ways of seeing, how do we get them? The source uses this really neat metaphor.
Oh, the glasses one. Yeah, I like that.
Right, it's like collecting different pairs of glasses. An economist looks at the world through their economics glasses.
Sees market forces, supply and demand.
A historian puts on their history glasses, sees the long-term trends.
An artist sees the emotional or cultural side.
Exactly. Each lens gives you a different perspective on the same thing.
And the more lenses you collect,
The richer your understanding, you can see things from multiple angles,
Right.
get a much more nuanced picture.
So how do we collect these glasses? What's the method?
Well, the source identifies one key fundamental way, and it's actually surprisingly simple.
Okay.
Reading books.
Just reading books.
That's what it argues. Reading is how you build the framework, the backbone for understanding life. It gives your mind structure.
And the benefit of having that structure.
Is huge, according to the source. When you encounter new things in life, new information, experiences, people, they have something to stick to in your mind.
Ah, so you process things better, connect ideas.
Yes. You can make connections faster, make judgments based on a deeper understanding of how things work. It fundamentally changes how you learn and make sense of, well, everything. Why people do what they do.
That sounds incredibly powerful, almost like a path to wisdom itself.
It does. And the author's own story, which is shared in the source, really brings this home.
Right, they talk about being kind of directionless, like an otaku, absorbed in games and anime until their early 20s.
Yeah, feeling unproductive. But then their life apparently changed dramatically. Found success, found purpose, after they started reading seriously and building this framework.
And the key point there is they said they had very ordinary intelligence.
Exactly. The transformation wasn't about suddenly becoming a genius. It was about the act of engaging with knowledge through reading. That's the power the source highlights. It makes it feel achievable,
Yeah, not just for the super smart.
And the source gives some really quite moving, actually real-world examples of this. Examples that show how gaining a new lens, a new understanding can change everything.
Like the story of John, the college dropout.
Yeah, John, 20 years old, dropped out, totally on games, feeling hopeless. The source says he just started reading. 15 minutes a day. That's it.
And what happened?
Within 2 years. Back to university, graduated with honors in tech, got a great job, and now he mentors others who are stuck like he was.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
genuinely touching. Just starting with a book, 15 minutes, and it sets off this whole chain reaction towards purpose.
It really illustrates the point, doesn't it?
Hmm.
How one new perspective can pull you out of despair.
Absolutely. And there was another story, Maria.
Maria's story is incredible too. An immigrant, no formal education, living in poverty. She somehow got hold of a book. The source suggests something on decision making, maybe like Kahneman's work.
Yeah.
And she just applied the ideas, started a tiny online business from nothing.
Yeah.
That small start, fueled by insights from a book, grew into $1 million company, and now she funds scholarships.
From poverty to funding scholarships
Yeah.
based on knowledge from a borrowed book. That's powerful. Truly a touching journey showing knowledge as a tool for overcoming hardship.
It really underscores that idea of knowledge unlocking potential.
And then there's a different kind of example, more eye-opening maybe. Dr. Jane Goodall.
Ah, yes. Her work with chimpanzees, it wasn't just about confirming things. It fundamentally shifted our understanding.
So.
By patiently observing, she documented chimps using tools. Complex tool use. That clearly goes way beyond simple savanna instinct.
Right, that was a huge discovery.
Huge. It was shocking at the time. It showed sophisticated intelligence wasn't just a human thing. It challenged everything. Humbling, really. Makes you rethink our place in the world, broadens your whole perspective on life itself.
Definitely eye-opening. The source also mentions figures like Elon Musk. How does he fit in?
Well, it uses him as a kind of case study through this intelligence lens. His work habits, the extreme hours, the intense focus, sacrificing work-life balance.
Things very different from the norm.
Exactly. So the source suggests this could be interpreted as behavior driven by extremely high general intelligence, operating far outside typical savanna norms.
Okay, but it also adds a crucial detail.
Yes, and this is important. It includes the nuance, the potentially shocking fact that this level of drive often comes with significant personal costs. Strained relationships, for example.
So it's not just celebrating the intelligence, but showing the complexity, the trade-offs.
Precisely. The source presents these analyses neutrally, just as illustrations of its theory for understanding why people act in such diverse ways.
Okay, so we have these different types of intelligence, these different ways of operating. But the source isn't just saying, general intelligence is best, is it?
No, not at all. It brings it back to a really crucial point. Innate intelligence level, your IQ score or whatever, isn't presented as the only thing that matters, or even the most important thing for finding wisdom or living well.
Right. It acknowledges people find success and fulfillment in many ways, right?
Yeah.
Maybe excelling in areas closer to Savannah strengths, art, sports, connecting with people.
Absolutely. And it also mentions potential downsides at the extremes. Very high or very low intelligence can both present challenges.
So what is the ultimate takeaway then? What's the gift, the key insight?
It circles back again and again to the profound importance of the ability to read books.
More than your starting point.
Yes. The source argues that the act of engaging with knowledge through reading is what's fundamentally transformative.
That's how you build the framework, gather the lenses, make the mental connections.
Exactly. It's how you increase your, let's say, mental processing fluency, your ability to connect new ideas quickly and integrate them. That continuous learning is presented as the real path.
Towards understanding, towards wisdom.
And the source makes this feel so accessible, so hopeful. It's not saying you need to tackle incredibly dense academic books right away.
Or that everyone needs to become a doctor or a lawyer, which requires specific high aptitudes.
Right. It's about the simple, achievable act. Start with easy books. Just 10 minutes, 20 minutes a day.
That small, consistent effort.
That's framed as maybe the most impactful thing most people can actually do. It's the opportunity, the gift this perspective offers, the power to build your understanding, gain wisdom, maybe transform your life, regardless of where you started.
It feels like a pathway towards seeing life more clearly, finding that deeper meaning you talked about.
Definitely. So, wrapping up this deep dive, the source gives us this unique lens, the theory of Savannah versus general intelligence, to help make sense of the complex, sometimes confusing world of human behavior.
But the real core message, the thing that really resonates and feels, well, empowering,
is that the ultimate power for navigating life, for gaining wisdom, for finding that fulfillment, isn't just about the brain you were born with. It's in actively seeking out knowledge, gathering those perspectives.
Especially through reading. That accessible, transformative act.
Having that growing framework, those multiple lenses, it really can unlock a deeper understanding of yourself, of others, and lead to a more insightful, maybe much more fulfilling journey through life.
So, given the incredible potential the source sees in gaining these new perspectives, maybe the thought to leave you with is this.
What's one new lens, just one area of knowledge, or maybe even just one easy book that you could explore starting today? Something that might offer you a completely fresh way to see the world. Or maybe a new way to see yourself.